Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Srini here, and today we are going to start a new series on a new tool called Playwright Automation Tool. So this is very popular in the market today, and you all might be knowing a bit about it. So I'm going to talk about the introduction to Playwright in this particular session. And following this particular video, I'll be creating more videos exploring a deep dive into Playwright tool. So stay tuned for that, and do subscribe to my channel if you have not done yet. So this is a very important tool, guys, which is coming in the market. It's already in the market and it is a very good competitor to Selenium automation tool. And we will try to understand in this session by first looking at the introduction, and then we will compare the Playwright features with respect to Selenium features and try to understand why it is getting more popularity in the market. So let's get start off. So my name is Srini and today we are going to deep dive into Playwright by looking at the introduction of Playwright. So Playwright is a modern, reliable, and a fast web testing tool which was developed by Microsoft, and very soon it has really gained a lot of popularity. So we are going to look at the reasons for that. So let's go to the next slide. So why is Playwright your next gen automation solution? So we are going to see how Playwright is going to, revolutionize the different kinds of areas where our automation testing can go directly to a next level, and what all disadvantages of Selenium it is able to resolve as well as bring a good solution to the table. So, what is Playwright? Playwright is an open source automation library which was developed by Microsoft in the year 2020. And as like Selenium, it also supports different web browsers like Chromium, Firefox, WebKit. You just name it, it supports all of them, all the popular web browsers in the market today. And not only that, it also supports cross-platform languages as well, like cross-programming languages, example like JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, Java, C Sharp. So these are the popular language bindings which we have seen, which we would be wanting to use in automation. So all of them are supported even in Playwright. So this is little bit advantage even compared to Cypress, because Cypress automation tool, you can do automation only with JavaScript, but Playwright says there is no boundary. You can go ahead with any other language. That is why it's a direct competitor to Selenium, because Selenium offers the same language bindings. Now, it has been designed for an unparalleled reliability. So we have often seen that in Selenium, there is often a case that there is some flakiness seen in the tests. Sometimes a test cases pass, sometimes the test cases do get failed. So we don't know sometimes how to establish that synchronization. So what a normal automation tester would think of in case of Selenium, they would try to put any explicit wait or maybe some fluent wait, some kind of a explicit way of handling it they would think of. That is the only way you can do in Selenium. But Playwright, you can see the rich features in it when I discuss about in the feature slide. But just to talk about it right now, it is offering an automatic wait. So there are certain methods which are offering automatic wait. So you don't have to mention any explicit kind of a wait. It will automatically wait for that particular event to happen and for your web elements to appear on the web page. So that's the beauty of Playwright. Now let's look at the key features of Playwright. So first important feature is that it offers cross browser and cross platform support. So as we saw, it supports running on Chromium, Firefox, WebKit across Windows, Mac OS, and Linux operating system. Not only that, it is also allowing us to run it on the mobile emulation for Android. So it is also kind of supporting your mobile kind of testing as well, which is really a good feature. Because as you would be knowing, in Selenium automation tool, we did not had any kind of a support for mobile testing. We had to depend on tools like Appium. Likewise, if you think of the different kinds of reporting and other mechanisms, always the Selenium had to require a third party plugin to be installed, right? You would require a library, let's say for extent reports, for Allure reports, and you would be requiring a different tool altogether, let's say Maven as a build tool. So there are so many dependencies which the Selenium tool had on the other areas. Similarly, if you want to do a Windows interaction, a Windows kind of pop-up appears, you have to use Auto IT, right? So there are so many key integrations which Selenium tool had. But in Playwright, everything is inbuilt. Your reporting, your logs, everything I'm going to talk about right now. Second important thing is automatic waiting. So it eliminates the flaky nature of the test case execution by intelligently waiting for the elements to be ready ensuring a very stable and reliable test execution. And that is really important these days where the customers are demanding that your test cases have to be reliable and your automation tests have to pass. If it was passing in the past, it has to pass if there is no change in the code or any locator. It has to change. It has to work as it was earlier. It should not be flaky. Another important part is the multiple browser context. So here it allows the users to work on multiple scenarios at the same time using the same browser instance. So you can basically like launch multiple tabs, you can launch multiple browsers at the same time, and they would run in parallel execution mode. So that way your test execution time would be lesser. It would also not be flaky, and it is really going to save your memory as well. So we are going to see all of those advantages when you start exploring Playwright into detail. It also offers you a completely different view. So it has a network interception and mocking particular feature. So in this, what will happen is that you will be able to see what is happening in the network tab. So when we generate the Playwright report, there is a separate section where there will be something called as a network tab. And in the network tab, you can see what network calls have happened, what is the request, what is the response. So all of those things you can even have a look just in the report itself. You don't have to go anywhere else, or you don't have to open the dev tools when you're doing the execution. Everything will happen after the execution is over. You will be getting all the view in just one single report. So that's how advantages it has over Selenium. And the last but not the least, screenshots and video recording, and also it offers logs as well. So that we are going to look at when I show you some sample screenshots as well. So it offers a feature of screenshot being embedded as a part of your Playwright report. So gone are the days when you have to write a utility of capturing a screenshot, or when a test case is getting failed, you capture the screenshot. Those all things are not at all required. Now you can even have a screenshot for each and every step, or if you want on failure. Similarly, if you want a detailed stack trace of where exactly what has gone wrong, there is a trace feature in Playwright, and that can give you an entire stack trace of what exactly has happened and why your test has failed, along with video recording and screenshots. So this is a really a nice feature which Playwright has, brought together everything into just one single report, and you don't have to do any kind of a third-party tool installation or any dependency or any kind of like a, more loading your entire framework with more concepts or more areas of tools. Everything is there within a single tool. That's the real greatness about Playwright. So let's go to the next slide. So this is how you can get started with Playwright. So it's still not too late, guys. So it's still like, Playwright is quite popular in the market, and there are not many expertise available across different language bindings. So there are very few people which are available in Playwright with Python, for example. There might be already a lot with Playwright with JavaScript or Playwright with TypeScript. But as an example, I can tell you for sure that Playwright with Python is also in great demand these days. So if you can learn that combination itself, that itself will give you a very good position in the market. So how do you start with Playwright? You have to install node.js. And here the recommendation is that you have to install version 14 or higher. So that way you can ensure there will not be any kind of challenges with respect to any support as such. So first of all, install node.js in your operating system. And once that is done, just check if the node version is reflecting by just saying node hyphen hyphen version in your command prompt. So once you have done that and you have ensured node.js is successfully installed, your next step is that you need to go to a Visual Studio Code. So you need a IDE. So you have to go to Visual Studio Code. Just open a blank folder and just write this in the terminal: npm init playwright at the rate latest. So this is going to install your Playwright package, right? And all the basic configuration would be set up in your project. So here how it works is that you don't need any kind of like a Maven structure or anything. Everything is done within Playwright. You don't need any external support as such. Second thing is that you have to install all the browsers, right? Like Chromium, Firefox, WebKit. So you just have to write the command npx playwright install. So that way, all your required browsers are going to get installed. And that's not all. You need to write your first test case, right? So here, what we follow as an example, let's say for JavaScript, what we follow a specification is that for your test cases, it should be suffixed with spec.js always, and it can be having any name before it that is actually like a test name, a test file name. And spec.js is mandatory for your test case file. So once you have followed the naming convention, you can add your automation code, and we'll be going deep into the Playwright with JavaScript and TypeScript in our entire web series. And if you'll really want me to create some other language binding, example with Java or with Python, do let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to create a separate web series for that particular combination as well. And lastly, once we have created all the tests and we want to run them, we can just simply run them by going to terminal and saying npx playwright test. So what it actually does is that it tries to search for the playwright package which we have installed with the help of npm, and it will also go to the test particular execution mode. So it will execute all your tests which are there in your spec.js, and it will run all of them unless and until you have specified, okay, run only this particular test case. If that is the case, then it will run only that test case. If not, it is going to run all your test cases. Okay. And this is the important thing which I wanted to explain. What differences Playwright has with respect to Selenium. So here, if you see, in Selenium, we were using WebDriver protocol, that is JSON wire protocol via browser specific driver. But here in Playwright, we are directly communicating with the web browser, right? So there is no intermediate party like JSON wire protocol or any W3C architecture kind of protocol. Here we are directly going to communicate with the browser. So that is why the execution speed is much faster because of the direct communication. And likewise, due to indirect dependency on the JSON wire or the W3C standard, here there is a slowness in the nature of execution. Then other thing is the multi-browser support. So here it has a built-in support for all your different browsers like Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit, which is nothing but Safari. But in case of Selenium, it would require you to install a separate driver for each browser. And not only that, you have to also set a path that, okay, at this particular path is where my WebDriver is present. But that is not the case in Playwright. Then it has a built-in auto wait mechanism, which is the real beauty of it, because it doesn't require the user to each and every time put some explicit wait as we used to do in Selenium. Then test stability. We have already seen and discussed in the previous slides that it reduces flakiness a lot because of this auto wait nature. But in Selenium, we have to carefully use wait strategies at certain places. It's not like we can confidently say if our test had passed yesterday, it may would also pass tomorrow, right? Even though our code or locators are untouched, still that is a very flakiness which we have seen in Selenium automation tool. Then Playwright offers an excellent advantage or support of multiple browser context and tabs. So you can run different tests in the same browser across multiple tabs. You can also do parallel execution across multiple browsers. But in case of Selenium, if you want to do the same scenario, it is possible, but it is little tedious in nature. So it's not preferable to use that kind of approach in Selenium because already you have got a lot of complex nature of coding required. And on top of that, if you try to do some support for multiple tabs and windows in Selenium, it would be really complex for any other person to understand. Then another important part is that it also supports your emulation of mobile devices so that you can do mobile testing. But as I had mentioned, for Selenium, you don't have any inbuilt tool as such. You would be requiring a different tool like Appium for doing a native mobile app testing. So these are the different features of Playwright versus Selenium, and Playwright is clearly the winner in this scenario. So why Playwright is a preferred choice? Why are all the different companies now slowly shifting towards Playwright from Selenium? So it's very important to understand the reason for that, right? It is because it is with respect to modern web compatibility. Nowadays, there is a lot of applications being built on React.js, AngularJS, and so on, right? It's not just simply on .NET or Java as such. It's now across different tools and technologies which are being used. So now we don't need to think of, okay, is it React? Okay, let's go for WebDriver IO or Cypress. Is it Java or .NET? Let's go for Selenium. No need to differentiate like that. You can simply go for Playwright because Playwright is offering you support over all different tools and technologies which are being used. It offers you excellent tooling. It also includes one couple of cool features I would be wanting to share later on. One is a code gen tool. So using this code gen tool, you can generate your test cases automatically. Second thing is something called as trace viewer. So let's say your test got failed. Now you want to debug in detail and do a troubleshooting as to where exactly it might have got failed and what would be the reason in the code which might be leading to the failure. So there is something called trace viewer, and you can have it only for failed test cases. You can have it for all your test cases. So that's a very cool feature. And not only that, it also has something called Playwright Inspector. That particular feature is so cool that it's simply like a record and play tool. So for those who are like a very newcomers to Playwright and they would not know the commands to use with respect to writing the test cases in Playwright, they can simply go for record and play. So it's like similar to Selenium IDE, where you click on the record button and you can do some actions on your browser, like go to Google, do certain actions, capture everything what you wanted to, and then stop the execution. So there is a Playwright Inspector tool which will do like that, and it is going to automatically generate the test in whichever language you would want to. If you want in JavaScript, it will be creating in JavaScript or Python or Java. So you can simply put those script indirectly into your test automation framework, and you're ready to go. So it's that cool in nature, right? It also supports the sub integration with the tools like Visual Studio Code, as I mentioned. So it also supports JavaScript and TypeScript. And for that languages, VS Code is the preferred IDE to use. And that's another advantage, right? You can use any IDE tool here. If you want to use Java, go for Eclipse or NetBeans, or you can go for IntelliJ. If you want to go for JavaScript or TypeScript, you can go for Visual Studio Code. So it offers so much of variety. If you want Python, you can also go for PyTest. So that's the beauty of Playwright. It covers so many different tools and aspects in it. The third important thing is it is having an active development in community and support. Since it is backed by Microsoft, it has getting a lot of sponsors and a lot of different support which is required in order to continuously improve and keep updating itself. And it is open source as well. So that's another advantage. And the last and most important thing is it's reliable. Its end-to-end reliability and its architectural design, its integration of different aspects into one framework is what I like the most. You can have reports, you can have the logs, you can have traces, you can have screenshots. What else do we need when we are doing the execution? This is all what we require for, right? And it also has support for other reports also. Let's say you don't want to go for any traditional HTML report. You want to go for Allio report or some other reporting mechanism. You can also have that. So like we have in Maven some dependencies like that, in Playwright also we have a configuration file, which I'll be sharing in my future sessions. It's called playwright.config.js that allows us to configure it and have any kind of reporting, or if you want to do assertions, what you can do, how you can do, you can control all of that from the configuration file. So these are the key takeaways and the next steps which I would recommend you all to do. So you can embrace Playwright and build more stable and robust and I would say dependable, reliable automation framework solutions. What are its advantages? For sure, speed. It gives a lot of faster test execution. It reduces flakiness to almost nil because it is completely auto wait mechanism. It covers all the different browsers and different platforms as well, and it is developer friendly. It's very easy to use. It has got a lot of features integrated into it, and it also offers for the beginners like the record and play option using Playwright Inspector. So that is really a very nice feature for the beginners to get started. So what I would recommend you all to do is that start downloading the prerequisites, that is node.js, and start installing the node package and start writing your first test. It's only about taking a first step towards automation. And if you already are in automation and if you want to switch over to Playwright, this is the time for it. Nowadays, the market is really in demand for these kind of tools. And before the AI completely takes over, it's very important that we embrace these new tools and learn as much as possible and show our expertise, right? So you can refer the official Playwright documentation. I will show that in a moment. And there are a lot of extensive examples and guides which you can refer inside that. And yeah, you can also join the Playwright community if you want to know the latest updates on what is happening. So what I would be doing is that I have a particular documentation which I would like to show you all. This is the Playwright documentation. So you can see in this documentation, you can have everything mentioned. It's a very nice documentation. How to install Playwright, how to run an example test. So this is the thing which you can also search here. And for example, if you want to know how the test reports looks like, that is why I have opened up this one. So if you want to know if a test case got failed, why it got failed. So if you want to know that particular thing, you can also do that using Playwright. So you can see here, I have just tried to increase the zoom size here. So this is how your Playwright will tell you where exactly a test is failing. It will show a kind of a red kind of a pointer, and exact reason also would be shown, and where exactly the failure is happening. So it's really nice. And this is how the test report would look like. If you had multiple tests in your spec file, and in that which are getting failed, they will be having a cross mark, which are getting passed, they will be like this. It also offers a very intuitive version of how many tests were there, how many got passed, how much time it took, how many got skipped, how many were flaky. So it's really nice a feature which they have. And another important thing which I wanted to show you all was the trace. So if you suffix with your execution when you run it, you can also put this trace on. So that would capture the trace after your execution is completed. And if you want to look at what a trace looks like, let me show you a sample one. So this is how a trace would look like. So in a trace, you would be having all kind of details. Example like what happened before, what happened after a particular step. Not only that, look at the left hand side. It has different actions being performed step by step. And if you look at the bottom of your screen, this screen, there is a network tab, right? There is console, there are errors. So you can know what exactly is happening around the test case. So generally, this traces feature is very useful when we are having any failure, but still you can have it for any kind of test case, be it passing, failing, or skipped. Still you can have it. So it's really cool feature. So that's all about the introduction part for Playwright. I hope you liked it, and stay tuned for my next videos to go deep dive into Playwright, where we will download it, we will install it, and we will get started with Playwright and write the first test case in Playwright. So be with me and let's get completely expert into different automation tools. Thank you so much. And if you're not subscribed my channel, please do subscribe it. Thank you.